I said I put in my name first
Okay.
and the only one.
Okay. Good. You my only one. You my only one.
Only.
Just while I'm thinking of it, our solar system is playing up, and with luck, it doesn't cut out while we're in the meeting. If it does, I can go and flip the switch and get it back on. But it's been flipping on and off. But
I can see it. The bandwidth is low, but it's working.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, all good. Watching this incredible movie. And you?
Same. Very,
Yeah.
very fascinating movie.
Yeah.
So much beauty in the movie. Like it's just where you look, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's both, at the moment. There's this incredible movie, and then there's this crazy movie that's playing simultaneously. It's,
It feels because that is where the focus is on, because sometimes it feels pretty crazy inside. Bless you. But yeah, but it's also then in the end, yeah, it's everything. Yeah.
yeah. It's like America's on fire, and this lockdown worldwide is going on, and there's something going on that's like pushed us out of like a normal complacency, you could say, where people are just running, and all of a sudden, like this movements happening, you could say, that are moving in the direction of tyranny. And it's huge. It's actually very big. It's like, I'd say it's the equivalent of like when Hitler came to power in Germany, except now it's worldwide. So, we can still see the beauty. It doesn't mean that, watching a bird fly across the sky isn't beautiful, but there is something quite dramatic going on. And it's, we can lose our peace around it or worry about it, or we can just be aware of it and then see how our system responds as love. And love can say, no, stop, this is enough. It's like, just like what's happening in America with many Black people saying it's enough. It's
And in
really
a way,
enough.
it has always been happening and is happening the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just feels
Yeah.
maybe now, like, I guess because also a lot of the West now is involved, or more countries are involved in the chaos. But in a way, it has been always like this, isn't it? Like this.
We can say it like that, but I'd say there's a big difference if bombs are dropping on your head or if laws are being passed that take away your freedoms. There's so many nuances to the conversation. It's not like there's no, it's just there's, at the moment, there's something that has been long-term planned, in my view, that is starting to come to fruition, and people are starting to say, wait a second, this is not the direction we want to go in. And even though it might have been going on, it's enough. It's really enough. And so, yeah, and I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way in it. It's just like I mean, like in South Africa, there was Mandela, and he looked at what was going on and he said, no, enough. Whatever the cost to me personally, it's enough. And same thing with Gandhi, and same thing with Martin Luther King. We've had this story where suddenly somebody comes along who's just a natural leader and says no, and has a certain quality of consciousness that is an invitation. It's a non-violent invitation to say no very firmly, but with love. And I just heard that, like in the Native American Indians who wanted to stop the pipeline across their land, and they finally won in court now. They've won. So that's amazing against huge, like huge vested money interests. So, and to me, that's inspiring. It's like, it's just like a bunch of people, very clear and very
that happened.
yeah. So the same thing now. It's just like we're watching. How best to speak it, but it's like there's and we've seen for a long time that our political system and our money system is not human or planet friendly. And then we've been seeing how, something needs to change. And people started to take to the streets and say, look, it needs to change. And and then all of a sudden, whatever this is that's trying to control everything came up with this whole COVID thing. And it's like, it's completely out of proportion to the actual facts. And then all of a sudden, this whole story about climate changes is not even on the radar. Neither is Julian. It's just quick how it gets played in the media and where it directs everybody's attention. And so it's beautiful to watch the orchestration of it, but it's also just to see what's going on in it. It's like not to be asleep in it, in my view anyway, but what everyone will have their particular take and how they respond to it. Certainly not worth worrying over or freaking out over, but certainly good to be aware of it.
It's also so interesting how this whole thing came, because in the beginning it was like, oh, okay, virus, oh, we have to, and everybody was doing it like, okay, we lock ourselves off, and then suddenly, like, now the movement comes of, well, what's actually going on? This is pretty weird.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, some people
Mm-hmm.
totally freaking out over other people not wearing masks.
Right from the yeah, exactly. For me, right from the start, I could see what was happening. It's like I could see that fear was being used to manipulate and to divide and to get people, look, you have to do this to protect other people. And if you don't do it, you're really a shithead. And I could just see that this is nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. It's
But
like,
it's a very strong one. It's a good one because it works for a lot of
it's
people.
well done.
It's like this whole
It's
vaccine.
well,
If you don't do it, you bring like everybody else in danger.
yeah.
And it's there's such a division. Like on the one hand, there are the people that find that, yeah, and then there are the people that don't. Yeah,
You see, I mean, it's, Goebbels, who was Hitler's propaganda man, said, you just need to repeat a lie often enough and then people believe it. And that's what the medium has been doing. They've just been lying and lying and lying, and a lot of people believe it. Except a lot of people don't this time. A lot of people are kind of awake to it, and they're going, wait a second. There's a lot of scientists that are giving completely different information, and they are well informed and they know what they're talking about. And there's something else going on here. This whole story of nobody's safe until we develop a vaccine, and we need to chip everybody. And I mean, wow, what a and like when you see how much the story has airtime and how much you can imagine the power that's behind it, imagine the money that's behind it, it's huge. And it's like these few to people to willingly go along with enslaving themselves. What a movie.
I hope that enough people will stand up and that it will not go in a very weird.
Well, it's like, that's the thing. Is like, I don't even hope that. I know that moment by moment, there's just being available for telling the truth about what I see, whether it's popular or not popular, whether people agree or don't agree. That's not important to me. In the end, it stopped or not. For me, there's absolutely zero concern living or dying. It's not. It's just like something is happening right now. I mean, it's no different than someplace and you're in a supermarket and you watch a very strict screaming at a kid, and you look at it and there's no judgment of the mom, you just see it. And if you can offer a hand in some way or lighten the load, maybe you do, maybe you don't. But it's like, here we are, and there's this whole divide going on. And then, how do we respond to it? And I know that there's no right way or wrong way. And I see that, in a sense, every life expression will respond the way it can and does. It's like we saw Extinction Rebellion starting to really catch on, and suddenly that's completely in the wind. It'll come back, I have no doubt. But we need a new system if we're going to survive as a species. So let's see what wants to happen and participate in a way that moment by moment that's true to what we love the most. So that's how I see it anyway. And everybody,
I even don't know.
I get a lot of flack about it.
I don't know if we need a new system or what we need. I can feel like what feels good and what, like, for this system and not, or what. But in the end, even that, I have no idea what needs to happen.
I'd say that that's not true. If you see a system that's like oppressive and is
I can
not
say
in the
what I
best
feel.
interests of the planet and people.
I can say what feels right to me, and it's certainly not this, but
Yeah.
I don't know if what needs to happen, like, because that is not up to me to. but I can
that's
say what feels right to me.
that's also okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, to me, I can say we might not have all the solutions right now, but we can see what's not working. That's a good start,
I didn't like it from
isn't
the
it?
beginning. I didn't like the whole time.
Yeah.
I didn't get a clue of the whole system already from when I was very young. I didn't understand anything about it.
Mhm. Yeah. So, like, something's happening where, you know, uh, this, it's like, we went to school and there was a system in place, that in my view was supposed to be around education, and we can see it didn't work then and it still doesn't work. There are a few examples that do work, that are beautiful, but by and large the entire education system was made around the time of the Industrial Revolution to get people used to working in factories. So, I look at it and I can say, wow, that doesn't work. And I can see, and I know of systems that do work. And I see how, when we learning together in retreats and on meetings and stuff like that, I know what has a big effect on work. So in me, that's what I'm interested in, being available to a learning and a blossoming and a maturing. And that's clear to me. And I can see, whether what you resonate with this and you give a lot of energy helping it happen. So recognizes
You're
and that be
frozen.
involved with me. Okay.
But the last thing I couldn't hear. So something that recognized.
So there's something in you that recognizes the value of this and supports it and puts a lot of energy into assisting to have it happen.
Yeah, and but that happens automatically.
Yeah, that's all. We see and we respond. Something responds.
It feels good, whatever that.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so then, it's just moment by moment, every interaction, every moment, just exploring and seeing how we meet the moment and seeing where, it's like, it's interesting because we're in a field that is, it's interesting to watch how, at some point there was a recognition of how to influence people's perspective that was used to get people to buy all kinds of crap that they didn't really want, and to get to have all kinds of perspectives and opinions, and it was done scientifically, you could say, really understanding how to do it and going for it. And yeah, it's and that's not hidden at all. That's very blatant, and with the use of television and advertising, and it's been done very consciously.
I don't get that
So
also. It's funny because at one point, of course, we're all kind of, I can see the parts in myself that do participate, where I'm even not aware of that. But I can see, like, it for me, it feels totally ridiculous. Everything that we do, like
yeah,
about that,
yeah,
the cycle that we keep,
yeah,
and having no connection with the land, like being unhappy. Everybody is feeling terrible. Most of the people living a life that they don't want to live.
exactly.
What for? It's completely
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like,
So
yeah.
yeah,
And I
and
like that I
so
can see that,
yeah,
that I see that because I love that
Yeah,
I can choose for what feels true to me.
exactly. And
And
that's all I'm saying is that
yeah,
we have that capacity to discern.
I'm
We
not sure
have
if
that
it's the right
capacity.
thing, but so because I can't see it on a bigger scale, I can only say that I can only live what is true for me and really be clear about that and just doing that.
Mhm.
But
Mm.
I can't say that it's the best that it's I can't decide for other people, or I can't decide what is. Yeah.
No, it's not about living for other people. I mean, it's funny when somehow my ears pick up that there's like some confusion in you. And I'm just looking at the best way to um, bring it because you do see clearly. You know, it's
But I
like we
see clearly
hear.
what doesn't make sense to me, and that doesn't. But how can I
So,
know if
so,
it?
so where does this but come from? That's all you see clearly for you.
Yeah.
That's it. And then, it's not trying to convince anybody else. It's nothing like that. It's just here it is. I mean, same thing. You with somebody and you see them living, ruining their health or making it impossible to have a good time with their kids or their anybody. And if there's an openness, you see, and
Yeah, it's really interesting that you mentioned just this,
oh, yeah,
because it is like there's this idea of um yeah, because it is sometimes you do see that you in my opinion, that I think, well, I can say no to something that is a boundary for me, or but how can I decide for someone else, even if it looks to me like someone shouldn't live like they're living, or it's painful.
know that. You can't. All you can do is respond if you sense that there's an interest to come out of it. You can't decide for them. That's so clear.
But that Byron Katie says, like Byron Katie says, that how can you absolutely know it's true that they shouldn't do what they're doing?
You don't know that they shouldn't be
No.
doing what they're doing, but you can see if it's painful to them, and you can see where somehow there comes a point in that painfulness where interest to come out of it. And there's a moment where if at that moment something can respond to it. It's not from a place of knowing what's best for them. It's just coming from like your heart going, wow, I see there's an interest, and then responding to that interest. No trying to convince, no trying to get them to be different, nothing. Just there's a mechanism playing that's painful. I see it. I sense it. I sense it. It's playing in a way that is painful to you. It's not that I know better what's for you. I can suggest we both can see that there's something painful going on. And at some point,
And it's
there's an
interesting
openness or there's not.
because I understand what you say, and I do feel that sometimes. And but then if you would say that to a person, and the person says, no, I have no pain. Yeah, but yeah, that's maybe on another level.
Yeah, I mean, because I wouldn't speak to someone when I see that they don't even know that they're in pain. Why would I want to speak to that? There's no point in speaking to that.
Yeah, I can see what you say. Like somewhere in me, there's maybe a mistrust in my own feeling or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's like, so just when we, you know, I don't know anybody that has no unconscious patterns. And so a pattern can be playing, and then there comes a moment where something responds to, you could say sometimes even to silent request, please just show up here with loving presence and assist me to explore. It's not that I know better for you what the way it should be. It's just like, okay, I'm here. I'm not moving. I get it. I'm just here. I'm not trying to teach you anything or tell you anything. I just sense then when there's a confusion or there's some entanglement or there's something, and if there's an interest, let's play. And if not, this isn't the time. Okay, next lifetime or some other, like some other, who knows when.
Staying with what you love, isn't it? Like
Staying with what you
what
love,
you know
exactly.
is true for you, and that feels
Yeah.
really. I can feel some, and I really like that feeling because it feels like a very strong. I like the feeling of that because it
Mhm.
feels very powerful and very standing up for something important. What I like,
Ex-
not being
I
indifferent.
mean, that's what I was standing, Rock. It was like, yeah, not being indifferent at all. There's a confusion there that I see in many people. They go, no, I'm not going to stand up for anything because I don't know. I'm like, that's a confusion. You do know.
But the standing up doesn't mean being rebellious or anything. The standing up just means like I'm here, I know what is true, or like well for me
Yeah,
or what I love, and that is what I'm gonna show up for,
yeah.
and that is like peaceful,
You
but
see,
very warrior.
I,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's so funny because you know this this story from the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna comes to Arjuna, who's this warrior, and says, have a look at what's happening. There's something happening, and we need to go. We need to go battle. And Arjuna replies, "But these are my cousins and aunts and uncles and family. How can I go into battle with them and kill them?" And Krishna then shows him what will happen if he doesn't go to battle. And Arjuna can see, wow, if he doesn't go to battle, the consequences are millions of people are going to suffer terribly. And so even though he doesn't want to, he stands up. And in that case, even to the extent of going to kill these people. And it was interesting with Papaji because someone asked him once about being a soldier, because he was a soldier for part of his life. And how can you be a soldier when? And Papaji said, looking at the scope of a rifle is one of the best meditations. It's like I don't think there's any rules to it. I mean, I love the story of Mandela. There he was. He was committed to nonviolent protesting, and he went, no, we have to do acts of sabotage because we're not being heard. This cannot continue. Enough is enough. And they started doing acts of sabotage, doing their best to avoid any harming any life. But it was a conscious movement in Mandela. And, who can say? And, he paid a price heavy. I forget how many years, 20, 30 years in prison for that. But he came out, and you could see, he came out and he said, even when he came out of prison, he could see that if he carried any hatred to any of the people that had really been terrible to him, he would still be in prison. And he inspired the world.
Yeah, and that's interesting because I spoke to someone about it yesterday about that there are so many different layers because there's so much a tendency of going immediately to the forgiveness and the compassion and but there's also some things are just not okay. Exactly. And then just saying like
Some
no,
things just saying, yeah,
this is not
yeah,
uh,
no,
this is not
absolutely.
okay. It's also important
This is not a thing.
because honest,
Yeah,
otherwise you
absolutely.
overstep something.
And then to be exactly, and to be true to that, have some airy-fairy idea of what it is, but to ground it, it's like, I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah, because that is then, because otherwise you neglect, like, because anger comes if a boundary is crossed somewhere, or if
For
you don't
sure.
speak up about that and ignore that, that it's actually very unhealthy. I think it's really good to,
Yeah.
and
Then
I
you
can
can sit
imagine,
there.
I would rather, that is what I could say, rather die in prison knowing that I'm standing up for something, instead of,
Mm,
uh, doing something that is just going with because of fear of going with the
exactly.
system.
Exactly. And so now, that's the inquiry going on in millions of people at the moment. Just, where's that point where it moves into fear, or it moves into apathy, or it moves in some excuse for not being true to what you know.
And but that is actually something that is now on it very exaggerated, but that is actually happening every day, isn't it, in our lives, where we a lot of the times
Yep,
choose for something out of fear instead of the thing that we love.
exactly.
So on that
Me-
might,
Every moment,
yeah,
every moment, when we stop being authentic, stop being vulnerable, stop being, yeah,
for what? Yeah,
for
for
what?
the
Yeah.
for this. Oh, okay, because then I have money, or then I have security.
Or to try and
What a terrible life.
fit,
Yeah,
yeah, try and fit in, and try and get people to like us when the cost is so high, to not be authentic. It's a big journey. It's like,
thank
wow.
you for inviting this, because it is really, and it's
Mm,
so funny because it's so, and it is like, yeah, like this warrior like energy, which is so beautiful to feel, because it makes
mm,
also courageous to just, and it
mm,
feels like really alive and good to stand up for something, like
yeah,
anything
yeah. And
that,
it's sovereign. It's not looking for approval. It's not looking for agreement. It's not looking that anybody likes its movement. It's just true to itself,
yeah,
and it's authentic. It's, yeah. I mean, it's like, in a sense, we're learning that.
yeah, otherwise we kind of like numb out
We
and live like a sort of
certainly
zombie.
haven't been encouraged. Yeah, exactly.
And that is also out of fear, because of the fear of not being able to win the battle, or to, or to what that standing up for something will bring. Yeah,
Exactly.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And just as, it's like making these discernments, seeing that it's okay for love to say no in the most direct way, sometimes even to scream it.
I'm so happy that you kept,
Whatever's,
yeah, because it is so much a tendency to go from, okay, well, let's stop this conversation, let's just go to peace or something, or like, but it is actually, that's more like that than that is, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, beautiful.
Mm. Yeah. And it doesn't go into a split or making wrong. It doesn't do. It might move those, like it might, in the learning process, make those movements, but it's auto correcting moment by moment by
Because
moment.
rebellion is
It's
also, of
beautiful.
course, that's something else. It's also not rebellion. It's,
Exactly. In a way, rebellion is being a victim. It's,
yeah, and
that,
fighting.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And again, there's so many nuances of fighting. There's a
yeah,
fighting that just says, it's enough, it's over, it's enough, stop.
beautiful. I hope I will. That's, well, I don't hope I will. Yeah, take that in.
Yeah, we keep exploring. again and again and again, every
And it is in
moment,
a way
every
also
moment.
like that
Yeah.
monk that let his head cut off. It's the same kind of thing,
Mm.
isn't it? Like I'm not going
It's
with,
exactly the same.
yeah. So, well, let's see. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Eva.
Lots of love. I'm very grateful for
Yeah,
this whole, for everything, for the all the meetings that we can do, and this time is like it's incredible. Also,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Theresia would like to speak.
Okay.
Hey, Isaac.
Hi, Verisha.
Can you see me? It's a little bit dark here.
I do see you,
Okay.
and it is a little bit darker.
Yeah. The sun
Can
is
you put
coming.
some earphones in because I'm hearing more
Yeah,
afterwards?
but then you have to wait a minute. Wait.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, it's better?
Much better.
Good. Wow. So I'm really activating when you. It was a great talk with Eva, but it's. Phew, it's nearly getting too much, everything.
Yeah, I
I feel it
understand it.
bodily. I have a diarrhea since 1 week or more.
Mm.
Phew. Okay, I take care. But I just put my name into because I want to connect with you in what we love.
Mm. Which includes everything.
I know,
Mm.
but I'm looking for a balance to include this, but also
Mm. So, yeah,
what I need,
beautiful. And so now
what I need the
that's the
most.
learning.
Say again. I didn't get it.
Yeah, so it's this question. It's this thing of recognizing when the balance is kind of tipping one way or another, you know. So we hear there's this beauty, and I was loving just tuning into the nature that's behind you there in your garden, and meeting it and saying hello, and then here we are. There's all this life happening, this galaxy, and this this incredible um, bodying going on, unbelievable.
Yes.
Then there's, you could say, the trauma of human history playing itself out. It's all here. It's all here.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, to me, that balance is recognizing when you spoke, oh, it's getting too much for me, then, okay, something's a little out of balance. And it's like because really and truly, the balance is just where and how our attention is.
Yes.
That's all. It's just like that. Yeah.
So then it's more about embracing all this, I guess, because maybe it's a
Exactly.
kind of resistance when I say it's too much.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
ah.
Something moving into being a victim, and yeah,
No,
losing our capacity to just, I'm here like a mountain. Nothing's gonna move me.
So I stood up for me. I put my name in.
Rain. Yeah.
So I drink from your mountain now.
And that's a mountain meeting a mountain, yeah.
Mm. Mm. Maybe I should paint the Arunachala today. Put it on a wall as a reminder. Beautiful mountain. Mm. So it was Ramana's mountain. Eh?
I think the only thing you have to remove is the was.
Say again?
You said it was Ramana's
Yeah,
mountain.
it is.
I don't think there's a. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Isaac.
Ina would like to.
Hi, Ina.
Hi, Isaac. I also feel inspired by the conversation. This morning, I really had this feeling like loving to connect more deep into this, what I really am. Because I can feel that and see that when the system goes into duality, it feels like I'm actually going away.
Mm-hmm. So let's slow that down a little bit. So when we say the system goes into duality, let's just see the mechanism of that, because there's awareness in which duality appears.
Yes.
And then there's an organization of the nervous system which has to do with where the attention is and how it's there. So, like if the attention is focused in a certain way, then life feels threatening, life doesn't feel good, life feels like it's dangerous or whatever it looks, but it's just a certain quality of attention to a sensation or a certain, like there's something going on there. That knowing of being awareness is just here. It's just that in which time, space, everything is appearing, and it's always here. Yeah. And the only thing that moves is our attention. So our attention moves in a certain way, it looks, and that's been conditioned, How it moves has been highly.
Does it ask something to get attention? To put the attention back on where everything appears in? Because it's sometimes it looks like it goes by itself, but a lot of times it looks like effort is needed.
Yeah, it's true, because it's like, but it's, to try and describe, there's kind of when life is looking through a certain habit, a certain momentum of habit, it doesn't even recognize that there's another possibility. It's just living its life, believing, not feeling great is okay, and that we just trying to survive, and like that. And it's a very familiar feeling, perspective, you could say. And then something starts to wake up and go, wait, what is that? It's like, man, I'm not a sheep, I'm a lion. I'm that in which all of this is appearing. And it's not trying to fix it or change it. It just sees, wow, those are just old patterns playing, just the momentum of old conditioning and so it's then learning. So every time it moves into its habit, it doesn't feel good, actually. There's some sort of dis-ease, of not being at ease, not being authentic, not being vulnerable, real, whatever, however
And it also feels like being reactive.
Yes, of course.
And that feels like a narrowing.
For sure. Yeah.
And that's at the same time also the difference, like being here and being aware of having a choice, like to go into this mainstream happening or just be staying clear and say no.
Yeah. I mean, it's so interesting, it's like, depending on where you're looking from, like there was this man murdered on television in plain sight of the world. And from that and a few other incidents all coming at one time, and suddenly like a whole movement of enough as Black people, as a darker color skin, but specifically Black in America, but Black anywhere in the world, because somehow that has been targeted more than other brown skin races.
Yeah.
Black races had a certain prejudice against it for a long time. And suddenly it's starting to stand up. But then at the same time, now we're getting reports that there are people being paid, we're not exactly sure by who, to go into these demonstrations, these peaceful demonstrations, and start breaking windows and start looting, and they paid to do that.
It's unbelievable.
Crazy. I mean, it's so crazy.
And that's also
And
from
so
people get paid to do that.
Yeah, but you see, that's the thing. It's like that's well known, I could say, in when something authentic is happening, like people try and infiltrate and try and,
Yeah.
and so this is going on, and we're just keeping our eyes open and watching. Look, not getting caught up in that kind of behavior, or then getting reactive, because in a lot of places, there's police that are coming forward and kneeling down in front of black protesters and saying sorry and meeting each other beautifully.
Yeah.
And then recognizing, wait, we have to discern here. There's other agendas going on within this whole historic. It's historic what's happening. It's huge. But it's so easy to go into fuck the police or something like that. But then,
but that's not coming from this love.
From that grounded, exactly. It's not saying no to a certain quality of consciousness that is playing.
Yeah, so it's not saying no to the human being, but it's saying no to the behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And to the, also saying no to the innocence.
Yeah.
To the innocence in behavior.
I would use a different word. I would say the naivety. Just, not trusting our own knowing, just getting confused, you could say, by all this different noise, and then not trusting what we know.
Yeah. Yeah, and then also this feeling a victim is also from what shows itself in awareness. So not from this what you really are, because there is nothing.
There's nothing.
Because there's only everything, not divided.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's where the paradox is, because in one sense there's nothing happening, absolutely nothing. It's just like there's no division, there's no two, there's just these different movements in consciousness, and this capacity, this innate capacity and awareness distinctions. And to watch where somehow it gets right and wrong and good and bad and all that stuff, and just sees, wait a second, no. Or yes, this is something in me is responding, and I feel, wow, this is a clear movement, Like I feel inspired to stand shoulder to shoulder with people, yeah.
So in one way, there is nothing happening, and we know that from what we really are. But in this movement, as being here as a person, we can respond to everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
we are called to respond also.
Absolutely, it's like I think for many of us, we've gotten involved in relating where it got into a patterns playing that were actually very, very painful. And oftentimes we would stay in circumstances that were not healthy for us, not out of inquiry, but out of mechanisms on top of mechanisms. So like
I recognize that.
yeah, and then at some point there's enough. No,
Yeah.
I need to come out of this. It's not easy. It's not, whoa, it's a big movement. And with luck, we can come out of it in a way where something gets more authentic, more deeper capacity to trust itself, to know clear movement, you could say. And so that's so beautiful when we start to not make wrong and not leave in a big mess and all that. Just know, look, I'm in what's true for me is I can't stay in this dynamic anymore. It's not healthy for me. And I'm not leaving you and I'm not blaming you for it. This is not healthy for me and I'm taking care. Simple.
Yeah.
But to come to that clarity is not always easy because, it's gotten entangled and meshed.
Yeah. And sometimes for me, it was like I had to move out before the clarity was really there.
Came for sure.
Later,
For sure.
yeah, thanks to this movement, I got more and more slowly more clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not by waiting until this clarity was here.
Exactly.
And actually, that's still the same. There are situations in which there is not real clarity, but there is this urge to move.
No, yeah. And learn to honor it and learning to respect that.
Yeah.
Big opportunities, huh?
Big opportunities, yes.
Yeah.
So there is nothing, when I go back to the beginning with my questions, there is no such thing as going back, resting as awareness. It's having the clarity that is everything at the same time.
Yeah.
And then being here and see
fully engaged.
Fully engaged, yeah, that's it. It's amazing that there is still a belief, but I can now see it's a thought that I still have to learn so much. So,
but it's,
learning happens, but
I don't think there's an end to how much learning is possible.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that's part of the more learning happens, the more humble we get because we see how much learning there is. And so it's like, it just keeps us on our knees and willing to explore deeper and deeper. For me, this is such a beautiful conversation, especially in the context of what's happening on the planet at the moment. It's just Yeah, it's so beautiful.
For me too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Ina. Yeah.
Hello, Isaac.
Hmm.
It's me, Andrea.
Okay, but your now your camera just came on again.
Okay.
Oh, your camera's going. Your camera's. Oh, now I see you again. Okay, good.
Got me?
I got you.
Hmm. Oh, I'm not sure if you're frozen in the moment or if...
I'll move my head. I don't know if you can see me moving.
No, for me it's frozen, but I still feel you. It's
Okay.
okay. Oh, there you are.
And you can hear me?
I
Yeah.
can hear
And
you
you can hear me? Perfect.
perfectly. Yeah. Yeah, this is exactly where I find myself, on my knees, exploring deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
Hmm. Mhm. Hmm. Is it sensible for you how strong my being is connecting with you? Not just yet.
I love it. I mean, it's like I see the deep interest to be authentic and to, yeah.
I just got the
And
word
there's a
authentic. Okay.
courageous, yeah. I see, I see the deep interest to be authentic, and there's a courageousness in that in that uh, interest. Could you hear that?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and there's also a deep interest to say stop.
Hmm.
and to rest. Yeah, I'm absolutely amazed about the capacity of the nervous system to receive you, and how clearly you could read me all the time whenever we met. I mean, more or less. Of course, that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we love. That's what we love. That presence. That's just in tune, feeling each other, seeing each other, without any fluff, without any judgment. Just that.
Oh no, you're gone
respond. Again. It's the connection is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how much becomes possible through the willingness to be seen like this. And for me, it somehow felt as if you could have taken a deep look into my DNA when we first met. And from then on, my being just wanted to go there and where it has been reminded of. And of course, it was always here.
So you described me.
Yeah, and I'm super grateful for that.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just beautiful to hold hands in that.
To me, at this moment, there's a felt sense that there's zero boundaries. It's just flow. It's just, yeah.
And it's pretty multi-dimensional.
Yeah. Yeah. It is, yeah.
And as I always love when the team engages with each other, I feel like saying thank you to Laura for this beautiful conversation you had the other day. It touched me very much, and yeah, it was beautiful to witness and be a part of it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for acknowledging that.
Bye-bye.
Shall we?
Miss Del Mar would like to speak.
Okay.
Hi.
Hey, Rebecca.
Mm-hmm. I'm in awe of everyone here. Incredible. Feels so like more like we're all coming into our strength.
Our sovereignty, I would call it. I mean, I love that word. Yeah.
And it's not a strength for it's not the strength for ourselves. It's not working for ourselves anymore. It's just so, I really am in awe.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love how you express that. It's clear, it's beautiful. It's a birthing of another quality of consciousness. It's holistic. That's in the direction, you could say, of expressing as unconditional love. It's just,
Yeah. Really incredible. I'm overwhelmed by this and really heartened. It's so heartening. Yeah.
see, that's.
I think you've frozen.
No, but we, okay. Am I back online?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, when I was talking with Ava, and she said she didn't know, I said, actually, that's not experience. See it, we can sense it, we can feel it.
Yeah. Mm. It's somehow getting clearer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Thank you. And thank everyone, all of you. Mm. Mm. Yeah.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Roberto would like to speak. You can come here, Roberto, because there's no audio on the other.
Hey, man.
Hey, man. Okay, I'm watching the wrong screen. Now I see you.
Yeah, here we are.
Cool. Yeah.
So much love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gratitude for what you've been doing here, this gift for us all. I've been so fortunate to have a back seat here while Ava's been doing the conducting. So, you know, sometimes you might have seen my foot in the picture or something. Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel you.
Yeah. It's been such a significant time in my life to have someone here, the slightest whiff of bullshit, I get an invitation to explore.
I said disappear.
You're frozen at the moment, I think.
I think his connection went off now.
But the audio as well?
No, well, his audio, his whole screen, you can see there.
Yeah. But sometimes like that and the audio.
No, I think because his solar panel would run out. So I guess he's fixing it now. So he just plays.
Okay.
Just,
It's hard because I have solar.
I'm not sure. Just checking.
Yeah.
You can stay.
Yeah. I'm not going on.
I'm just pausing the recording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm unmuted.
Yes.
Yeah. How's your heart? Do a bit
It's
of
all
running.
good. I'm walking fast.
Yeah. The joy of living in the country, where the unexpected is frequent.
Yeah.
We got no one else who wants to come and chat with you.
Oh, cool. Be here.
Yeah, we're here. I've got the beautiful scent of a lemon tart wafting through the room.
Somebody's baking, eh?
Yeah, when I offered my spare room to Ava, of course she said, you know, what can I do for you? And I said, oh, I like cakes. So every week I've had a delicious new cake. The lemon tart has just come from the oven. I think it'll be the last one that she'll be able to make for me. So without my glasses on, I can't read the chat. Is there anyone else there?
Yeah, Laura would like to go next.
Laura would like to go next. All right. Well, I'll see if I can mute myself and get Laura online.
You can unmute Laura.
Yes, I'll unmute Laura. So this
Roberto is
one.
taking over.
mute,
I can.
mute there, and now let's find Laura. Where is Laura?
Here it's like this.
It looks like
Thanks,
you're unmuted,
Roberto.
Laura. Yeah. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Isaac. Just settling for a minute.
Yeah, take your time. And just, it's interesting. It's like that settling happens by itself, but if there's some trying to interfere with it or waiting for it or anything like that, so we just hear, and in a way just watching if there's any agenda to settle. Yeah, just like whatever excitement is here is welcome, and either in being present to it, it settles or it gets more intense. We don't know. We just share with whatever's here.
It's interesting you say that, because excitement and joy is such a new thing for me, and I confuse it, I think, with anxiety. And so to just watch that and see, I mean, it could, who knows what it is, but there is a difference. But my body's been so used to anxiety that it doesn't quite know what to do with
Wow,
love and joy.
Yeah, but that's so beautiful. What a beautiful learning that is. Yeah.
Well, I don't even believe it, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. And yet you speak it. And you speak even I don't know if it's not believing it more and not trusting it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then
Sandra said something the other.
Yeah. Just looking at that, not trusting it. And seeing if you want to trust that not trusting.
Yeah.
So it's like I understand not believing it. It's like, wow, how lucky. So just how lucky you are. Just take a moment. Wow, this is grateful for this. Kind of like a miracle almost, huh?
A miracle to see it.
Yeah, that somehow your system switched from anxiety to enjoying. It's a miracle, yeah?
There's always a sense of you're going to lose something if you enjoy too much.
Yeah. Yes, let's look at that. Is it worth believing that thought?
It's very powerful. It's not just a thought, it's in the body too, but I guess the thought causes the body.
Yeah. And is it worth believing it? Is it worth giving it any credence?
Well, then there's more fear.
Exactly. It's just a doorway back into hell. So don't go there. Just, okay, you're here enjoying, and just enjoy it to the max while it's here. Who knows what the next moment brings, but just while this is here, just wow, it's a miracle. Thank you.
And simultaneously, as my system kind of learns about joy and openness, there's a feeling of more understanding, or not understanding, but more direct more of a direct sense of suffering and heartbreak. I think that's that's part of why there's a fear of the joy and peace, because I feel more of a direct relationship to suffering too, not my own necessarily, but others.
Yeah, and it's like, so we hear, and what is suffering? Let's just look together, just not just from here, just here. What is suffering?
Well, it's experienced as seeing deep sadness in people around me.
Yeah, so just slow it down a bit more. What is suffering?
Division, I think. People
Just
thinking they're divided.
keep exploring, yeah. So is it real, or what is it exactly?
It's real for them.
Yeah, but what is it actually? It seems real to them. How does it happen?
This sounds really spiritual, but them not knowing the truth of who they are and the truth of what's real.
So not knowing that, and then somehow a feeling comes up, and then an involvement with that feeling, right? Wanting to change it, wanting to fix it, some way that identification happens with it. And not recognizing that who they are, not seeing who they are, and then just getting caught in that loop, yeah? That's called suffering. And who does it?
I see it. It's their history. It's conditioning. It's generational. It's parents.
It's just automatic. Yeah, nobody's doing it even, and it registers it. I'm suffering, but if you look deep down, who is the one that's actually suffering? Who is that one? Is there actually someone there that's suffering?
Is that you asking me to do that, or me directing it at them, looking for them to do that? Because they won't do that.
Right now we're just looking together.
Yeah.
So we can see there's some activity going on that's called suffering, but who is it that's suffering? Let's just go into that, just looking together right now. Is there someone actually suffering, or is there just an activity going on that makes it look like there's someone there that's suffering?
There's a sense of like there's a sense I could touch into that, but it's mental at the moment.
Okay, yeah, even just seeing clearly mentally. So is there someone there that's actually suffering, or is there just an activity of suffering?
I feel I can't answer it until I know it fully.
Okay. So just going on the same track right now.
Yeah.
As we're speaking, there's an interpretation of the words, and there's a noticing of the wanting to answer and not sensing the authenticness of being able to answer in a way that
There's
feels
something
all the
very
way true.
authentic here.
Yeah. So that which is authentic, what is that? Is that a someone, or is it deeper than someone? Their words run out, right?
It feels like words have a habit of undermining and have a habit of making people wrong for not knowing that.
Yeah.
And always trying to balance the hardness around me out with this, but then it gets undermined, so it's tricky.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with that.
You don't have to do anything. We're playing, we're exploring.
It feels
together.
naughty. It feels wrong. It feels like that can't be allowed when there's so much suffering going on. Like
So, okay, well, let's come back to that exploration then. So there's suffering going on. There's suffering going on. But who's suffering?
I don't know.
Look, just see.
You mean in the other?
Anywhere.
I have no idea.
Yeah. So let's see. Is there actually someone that's suffering? You can notice the suffering.
Well, it appears that way.
It appears that way. Good. And that's clear. It appears that way. It's an appearance, yeah? When you watch a movie on the screen, you're watching on your TV or whatever, it looks real, yeah? Your body even jumps, or you see someone acting like a real asshole and you go, wow, but that's an actor. They're not really an asshole, they're just acting like an asshole. Or they're acting like a villain, or they're acting like a Romeo. But you know that you don't shout at the screen, look out behind you. Because it's a play, yeah? This was filmed weeks ago. Isn't it? When you watch a movie, you know that there's no one going to actually get killed. Or there's no one actually falling in love.
You know that, but it reflects so much.
Yeah, but you know it, right?
Yeah.
No doubt. So, coming back to that question, who's suffering?
I'm on an edge here.
Yeah, good. And I'm doing my best to keep you right on that edge.
Oh.
It's a similar question to right now. Breathing is happening, yeah?
Just about.
Yeah. And who's breathing? All you can say is that breathing is happening, yeah?
Mm.
Yeah. We get sloppy and we say, oh, I'm breathing. But all we know is that breathing is happening. Nobody's actually doing it. It's just happening.
Yeah, I can't do anything about that.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with thinking. We say, I'm thinking, but in truth, if you try and stop for 5 minutes, you'll see that thinking goes on by itself. It's not you that's doing it, yeah? So now let's apply that to suffering. Who's suffering?
Does that go for physical suffering too?
Well, pain and suffering are different, yeah?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But even with pain, you wouldn't say, I'm paining. You just say, look, it's pain happening. Would you say, I'm paining? You say, pain is happening, yeah? Something's... Anyway.
Something knows very much. Something. Yeah.
Like there's a knowing. And you get a sense of where I'm pointing,
yeah? Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
I mean, it's not even a pointing. It's... Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Yeah, cool.
Mm. That's great. Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful.
It's a
Absolutely beautiful.
blessing, a real blessing.
Yeah. You know, someone once asked Ramana Maharishi, actually, it was a famous conversation that happened. It was a conversation between Yogananda. You've seen that book, Autobiography of a Yogi?
Yeah, it's on my table. I just haven't read it.
No worries. Yeah, but anyway, he amazing human being, Paramahansa Yogananda. He went to see Ramana, and he was a very compassionate person. He said, Ramana, what can we do to assist all these people that are suffering? And Ramana just said, find out who's suffering. Because you see there's just an activity going on, but there is nobody actually suffering. As long as that activity continues, suffering is there. But if that activity stops, there is no suffering. And an inquiry into who's suffering just ends that suffering, because there's no one there that's doing it. Anyway.
Moving on.
Moving on, talking to myself in the most sweet way. Thanks.
Today was good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, exquisite.
It just had everything today. Everything.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to mute. Thank you to everyone.
Okay. Yeah. And just about used our time. Anyway, here we are. So Pavitra, you're going to be hosting the next meeting.
Yes, I am, Isaac.
Nice. Thank you.
No problem. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, I love this. I love this. I'm going to end now, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Happy travels, Eva.
Thank you.
And,
yeah, I'm still here for Micah, so Saturday, but Sunday I'm leaving. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Well, it's the last time I'll speak with you.
Yeah.
Or I'll see you to speak to you in New York.
France. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I arrive.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for today and really also staying with that. I'm really grateful that you pointed out what you pointed out and invited.
Yeah, beautiful. I loved it. To me, this was really on the point, very clear.
Very, very precious because it really it's quite significant.
Yeah. Okay, sweethearts. Before the electricity cuts out again, seems to have a mind of its own tonight. Yeah. Ciao for now.